Okay. I don't know. I kind of feel like men look at what great sex is a little differently than women do. I think sometimes, at least from a guy's perspective, I think sometimes we think great sex is about how long we're lasting. You know, uh, if we can put a notch on our belt and say, "Man, we went for 30 minutes last night, or an hour last night, or 2 hours," then that's great sex. That's really good performance. But that's not real, and I think women look at that very differently. So I don't know. I'm just curious, Frenchie. What do you think about what I just said when it comes to males and how they view things sometimes?
I agree. I think as a society at large, we've all been indoctrinated to a lot of sexual myths, as to what good sex looks like, right? We watch a movie, the candle starts, at the beginning of the candle, next thing you know is like down at the bottom of the wick. Nobody's enduring that long. No,
Not at our age.
no, right. Nobody's really enduring that long. Like we're really great at like 15-20 minutes. We burned 200 calories. Like we're good, right?
Yes.
So the film industry has taught women when and how to moan and what sex sounds like. Is taught
Like,
us.
you think that was because of When Harry Met Sally kind of movies?
I
One
mean,
of the that one of the greatest orgasm scenes of all time.
I mean, depends on who you ask, but they just, uh, we can all, we
Right,
can
right.
all do that, right? And so, you know, for some people, sex doesn't have a sound,
Totally.
or
100.
is singing, or is, the scraping of nails against your skin. There's more than just that, right? But we've been socialized to believe that these are the steps, and then over time we figure it out. But I just fear that we're in an era coming out of like the shame era, where now we can have these conversations, but they're still awkward and uncomfortable because we came out of an era where it was shameful or embarrassing to really say what we want, what we need, and that's for both men and women.
So,
Uh,
Frenchie, I'm gonna just have a couple of questions for you. Question number one is: look, most of our audience is more mature, probably 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond.
woohoo!
Many of us um, have been married for or with a partner for quite some time. Some of us are just getting to know our partners. So, one two-part question. Question number one is, if you're not having sex on a regular basis with your partner because you've got
Mm,
kids, you're busy, or whatever the reason is, with Valentine's quickly coming around the corner, puts a lot of pressure on some couples,
it
right?
does. It
Because
does.
unfortunately, like, they're not where they should be in their connection on a physical level. And then all of a sudden they're supposed to perform as if, like they're out of the movies. And so I think for a lot of people, Valentine's is a bit of anxiety provoking, right? And so, what are some, as a woman, what are some things I can do to get you in the mood, or to get us in the mood, or to break down some of those barriers, bring down some of those walls, so I can get so we can really sort of, because I think at our age, being having fun intimately is about being relaxed and emotionally connected as much as it is physical, right?
Yes.
So what would you say to the audience if you're talking to the guys out there, the men out there, the married men, the relationship guys, the ones who maybe are a little nervous about Valentine's coming up? How would you approach it besides just getting a box of chocolates and flowers?
you know, yeah, we have to come off of autopilot with the usual. But first and foremost, it's about kindness, laughter, and consideration. If you show kindness, if you make her laugh, and you are considerate, those three elements right there will have you in bed like earth, wind, and fire. Now, kindness, as in gestures, if you just left a post-it note on the pillow and just said, I'm really going to be thinking about you today, baby. I really want you to have a good day, baby. Just letting her know that she is a focal point with all your stressors, with work, with your boss getting on your nerves, with you trying to get a new contract, but letting her know that she's still a focal point for you. And it's funny, I have a funny story. I have a friend. He's such a special guy. He's such a Casanova. And we always joke because he keeps uh, a working Word document, and it's a date itinerary. And he changes out the dates. He's got this beautiful introduction. I'm so happy you're going to be with me tonight. And we're just going to have a lovely time. And, I'm going to pick you up from 5 to 5:30. I pick you up from 6 to 7. We'll do a little happy hour. From 7 to 9, we're going to do a little dancing, or we're going to grab some tapas over here. And then we're going to walk down the street. We're going to check out the monuments. And they're like, oh my God, he made this itinerary. Now it's a Word document. We know that he's sitting there plugging out whoever's name.
It's like a lot of effort and a lot of room for mistakes.
But he really considers, having a full date and making the plan. And the women are about like, thank you for this consideration. A lot of men are not planners.
Yes.
They just aren't like if they don't play sports, there is no plan, right? That is not their ministry. Okay. But if you make a small plan, I'm telling you the loving you can get if you are just kind enough to make a small plan. And he is successful because he takes the time to make a plan.
I love that. And I'll tell you, Frenchie, for those out there listening who maybe can sort of relate to what we're talking about, if you're in a relationship where maybe intimacy is not at the forefront of your relationship and Valentine's is coming up, and you're taking to heart what everything Frenchie said and making some beautiful post-its, maybe creating a plan, just because you're not having sex that night doesn't mean it's a failed Valentine's. Absolutely. I think we have to understand that, sometimes us guys, like you said, we're into the football season, the Super Bowl just happened, and work is busy, and we're not making our marriage, our relationship, our connection with our partner a priority. It's not going to change overnight just because it's called Valentine's. Right. So baby steps sometimes. Make me 2026 is one committed time period a week where there's no phones involved. It's just you and your partner communicating, doing something fun together that you enjoy, maybe finding new hobbies. And I think that done over time, little changes in small habits really will pay dividend. And then from a medical perspective, I think this brings us to a really good topic, Frenchie. Matter of fact, why don't you kick off today's show?
Oh, let's talk because we're going to talk about it today. I'm excited to talk about. Listen, I am so ready for today because I was like, I'm gonna have a little drink, but of course I got my buddy here, right? Because of course, who needs a phallus bottle opener, when they're having their drink? And then I made sure to bring Clitoria because we have to have Clitoria because We
I need that for my
need to
office.
make sure that everyone, and she's gold too, because she matches my nails, because that's what clitoria does. But everyone needs to know, what a clitoris, the full organ of the clitoris looks like. So I was ready, and my little sippy cup. Yes, this is my sippy cup. Don't.
Well, I am. Listen, guys,
But I'm ready to
always
talk
comes
about
prepared
women's
to the show.
pleasure
Yeah,
today.
I love it.
So we have to, again, it starts up here, guys. If you want to get down here, you have to start up here. You get her here, you can have her there. And if you have fun, if you make her laugh, you're kind and considerate, you can have her too, right? But those things are all aligned. They're not separate of one another. And we have to find new ways to communicate. You know what I like? I like to tell men about the pressure pleasure test. So when you're with your partner and you're trying to figure out her erogenous zones, and as opposed to saying, well, what do you like, baby? Do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do it this long? Whatever you're doing that she enjoys, she has to squeeze you. She squeezes you tighter to communicate to you that's where she wants you to stay.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. Yep.
And so, sometimes we don't want to have those awkward conversations about and then sometimes a woman can be feeling great and then he shifts and we want to choke the living hell out of you. It's like, that was it right there. So the key is to do the squeeze test. And if she's squeezing, keep it going right there. Find where you're going to squeeze.
Hey,
she can signal to you, right?
so you bring up all good points, Frenchie. First of all, you talked about the fact that emotional connection, feeling safe, all of these things are super important for your neurotransmitters. That is going to really kick in that desire component, right? I want to be with you. I can't wait for you to touch me. But we have to understand, as we're all getting older, things are changing down there. Yes. And so you may have that desire to have the best sex of your life tonight because it's Valentine's or whatever reason. It's Monday night, and why not?
Exactly.
But the reality is sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes the erections are not as good. Sometimes it's harder to climax. Sometimes you can't even get an orgasm going anymore. And so that's not abnormal. That's actually normal as we age. And I think we live in a world that we're blessed that we have treatment options for this. There are providers out there that you can go to and talk to about this. So blood flow in sexual medicine is one of the pillars of sexual gratification. And as we age, our blood flow unfortunately diminishes, both for males and females, as well as hormone levels, as well as the elasticity of the vagina, the thickness of the walls of the vagina. And so all of these need to be addressed. And if you're having discomfort, don't push it just because. Address those. Having a good time doesn't always mean penetration. You can have great sex without having penetration. You can spend 20, 30 minutes on oral sex and each pleasure each other. The clitoris has over 8,000 nerve endings. Yes, as your clitoral model shows, it's not just the tip that sticks out. Look at that. This is probably one of the most.
That's what they see.
Yeah.
And then they forget about this side.
That's right.
This is a whole organ. Yes.
Yeah. So all of these things I want to address tonight because I see it way too often. Women are coming in and telling me, look, my husband took Viagra last night and I can barely walk today because I'm not on hormones, and it caused me to have some tears in my vagina. It was very uncomfortable. It was not pleasurable. It sort of traumatized me. And that's something we have to talk about and deal with, because what might have worked for you in your 20s does not necessarily mean it's going to work for you in your 50s. And both men and women need to understand that and appreciate that. And so we need to spend more time in that safety connection mode, more time in that arousal phase, more time in that foreplay phase, with each other. And then whatever happens after that happens after that. But yeah.
As long as you're having fun, I think that there are people who are so focused on the project of the orgasm that they're missing everything else. They're missing everything because there's this one project, right? And if they don't hear someone moan a certain way, or if she hasn't said that she's had an orgasm, there's this huge disappointment. And pleasure arrives whether you orgasm or not. Sometimes the orgasms are simply just not as intense.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're very soft and subtle. It's a soft tickle. Sometimes it's a heavy tickle. Sometimes there's a rude outburst. There's such a variation in orgasms, and I still have clients who are saying that they have not experienced an orgasm, and I'm like, okay, but did you smile? Did you feel good? Did you still want to be with that person afterwards? Like, those are the things that also count as well, and we discounted all of these other great outcomes because of the O.
Yeah.
And there are mental O's and there are physical O's. There are all of these different types of O's. I think edging is really good and really helpful and important. And for those who don't understand what edging is, it brings you to its arousal, a lot of foreplay, usually around the clitoris, and it brings you to the edge right where you're about to, like, yes, I'm there. And then they pull back, and then they bring you back up again, and you're like, don't move, and you pull back again. And then you bring them back up again, and you torture them to death with all of this pleasure, but you don't let them have it. You hold it, you get real stingy with it, and you say, nope, I'm not going to give you your orgasm yet. Yeah, that edging is pretty amazing.
Well, there you go, guys. You heard it. It's not called blue balls. It's called edging.
Yes, because you get there eventually, a little, somewhat tantric, but you get there eventually. But it's about extending that play, extending that pleasure for both of you.
So look, I'm going to take more of the medical side right now, which is what happens to us as we get older and our hormones change. Look, it's very common as both, and this affects both males and females, because both of all genders lose changes in their hormone profile as we age, and hormones, especially sex hormones like testosterone in both male and females, estrogen mostly in females, oxytocin in both males and females, play integral parts in connection, in sensation, in orgasms, in performance. And I think that as we get older, we're going to assume that we've been working on the connection and the connection is there. You want to be intimate with that person. This is something you feel comfortable in doing. You feel emotionally connected, but you just can't seem to have that performance. So look, to all my men and females out there, go get a hormone profile. Let's take a look at what's happening with your hormone profile. But it's more than just hormones. We got to look. We talk about blood flow. Well, guess what? As we age, what happens to our arteries? We develop plaques, right? And so when we have narrowing of our vessels inside our body and less blood flow, we have that in the genital area as well. And so a lot of times you talk to our male patients about erectile dysfunction. And if you were to do an ultrasound or an imaging study of the vasculature, you would see a narrowed lumen with decreased pressure flow into the penis. And that's why they're having a hard time maintaining erections.
So we go, what
medications are you on, right? As we get older, we start getting this toolbox of medications, right? Whether it's blood pressure medication, medication, whether it's for depression, SSRIs, all the stress from our work, our
Hypertension.
environment, our families. All of these things play a role in how we perform, how we connect. And so it's not just about, I love her personality. She's just the best. She just turns me on. Yes, that's a big part. But we have to be true to ourselves and understand there's physiological components to it. Then there's also surrounding noise like medications, stress, sleep deprivation, alcohol, all these lifestyle modifications that we need to take into consideration. But the good news is to all of those are answers, right? We just have to be proactive, you guys. There are things we can do to maintain good blood flow. There's lubricants that I think play a huge part. Frenchie's going to tell us about her favorite one. So I'm a big fan of it, and I'm going to let you talk about what you love, and then I'm going to tell you what I don't love about lubricants.
Yeah, so this is because they're not all made equal, but this one is one I love its simplicity. Let's just start there. It looks like, just a little fragrance bottle or a lipstick tube. And see, it's just clear. It's this really amazing lubricant. And what I love about it is a little bit goes a long way. One, here it is. And look, it's not sticky.
Yeah.
It's hypoallergenic. There's no fragrance to it. Like, it is so smooth. And for me, it really recognizes and acknowledges how gentle and sensitive the vulva and the vagina are. And so what I like is that it feels like a liquid baby powder. It's so soft, it's so smooth, is delicate for the delicates. And I can put it in my hair, because it is such a healthy, clean product. You want clean products, especially as you're aging. You don't need anything gimmicky. You don't need scents and things that heat up. You've seen those
Yes.
those lubes that why you need heat down there? Like,
I mean, listen, part of the United States has had some bad weather lately.
Yeah. You trying to heat it up. So that is why I stick by Uber Lube. Particularly for women who have been abstaining for a period of time. And this is a great reintroduction with your partner. If you're worried about sensitivities, if you're worried about size, this is really, really good. Great for our silver populations, because our silvers, they still living their best life. This is really, really good for them as well. So definitely an all-purpose. I really like this one. But you were saying that there are things that you don't like about certain lubes.
Well, first of all, thank you for talking about that, because I think you brought up a good point. Lubrication, as we get older, should always be by our bed. Right? I'm a big fan of that. I think it makes a big difference. But you're absolutely right. Sometimes we fall into the traps of the marketing, fancy, gimmicky kind of lubricants that have an incredible smell, that sizzle, that warm up. And unfortunately, our vaginas, as we age, are very delicate. We need to maintain the proper pH balance within our vaginas to protect ourselves from getting recurrent infections, whether it be vaginal infections, urinary bladder infections.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to maintain that pH balance. So I'm a huge fan of lubricants, but I'm a bigger fan. My number one is it has to be clean. It has to be a hypoallergenic. It has to be as natural as possible, water-based, because we don't want to change the microbiome of the vagina, because we're very sensitive to it as we age. And to maintain that acidic pH that is required in the vagina becomes harder for us, because as our estrogen levels go down, they don't feed that good lactobacillus flora in our vaginas. And then we become more prone to these infections. That's number one. Number two, you brought up another really good point, Frenchie. sometimes sex hurts and it should not hurt. And if Valentine's is coming up and this makes you nervous mentally, and it may be it may be one of these triggers that actually prevents you from even wanting to engage in physical interaction. And if it significantly does cause discomfort, you shouldn't. You need to go see somebody first. Nobody should ever be in pain when they're having sex.
Yeah.
But a lot of times these lubricants will help support that tissue, will make it softer, easier to glide, less friction, less micro tears, and more enjoyable. And so that's a big part of what I truly believe needs to be part of our toolbox in our bedroom when we are having intimacy with our partners. I don't know. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, absolutely, because we want to get back to intimate joy. And in so many instances, we've had a lot of social disruptions to our intimate joy, right? So much is changing. The cost of living has changed. People were socialized and conditioned to swipe left, swipe up, down, all around. Teaching people that others are disposable. And so we have to get back to us, and part of getting back to us is just being kind, connected, giving joy. If you do those things, you can get there. If you just plan to have a good time, people aren't going out and just having fun anymore. And so that's really, really important when it comes to pleasure, is having fun. Are you cooking together? Are you taking walks together? Are everything doesn't have to be an expense, but it should be really considered, you know? And so we haven't just considered what we can do. We just go on default. Well, we're gonna eat. Well, we're gonna go to a movie. So those are the defaults. So I want us to get off of autopilot and get back into connecting with each other,
Totally.
and asking questions that really help you learn how you can be a better partner to them, so that they can learn how to be a better partner to you. I think that is really the beginning of it, and so
I
uh,
think as we get older, sometimes we take our relationships for granted. You and I
sure.
have talked a lot about, man, is it uh, our marriage vows, should they be forever? Should there be a time limit on it? Should they
Ooh,
be
that's a
reexplored?
whole other topic,
A whole different topic. I'm only saying that because I really believe people go on autopilot and don't put the effort anymore, and then everything sizzles out. And when you lose that emotional connection, by default, you typically then lose the physical connection. And once you've lost emotional and physical connection, it's an uphill battle to get it back. And so I don't know, for 2026, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm
What are
gonna
you gonna do?
I'm gonna spend one, because we're all busy, and I think sometimes you just have to do a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make an effort in 2026 that once a week reserve some significant block time with no outside distractions for my wife and I. And that
Yeah.
means not going to a restaurant and dropping $200 on cocktails and a really fancy dinner. Maybe it's just, I live closer to the beach. Maybe it's just watching a sunset together and talking and taking, like you said, a walk. I mean, these to me, as you get older, are some of the most precious moments, right? Because
Yeah.
that's what really, nothing like taking a walk and holding hands sometimes and just smelling the nature and just taking a step back from all the stress that you feel on the outside, and knowing that one person next to you is your lifeline to happiness.
You
Is your
know,
life.
we may be aging ourselves, but I remember it was just so romantic if you made a music playlist.
Oh my God, remember that? I used to have two
And
radios,
you
right?
get
The one you play, the
100
one you'd
songs for
record on.
99 cents.
Well, I'm old enough that I used to do that on cassettes, and then you'd sit there and rewind. And,
Yes,
yes,
yes. We have to always say is so when I mapped what type of relationship I wanted, I said I wanted a 80s, 90s R&B type of love. And I was very genuine as to what that meant, because it still meant going through all the emotions. We don't get to be risk avoidant in everything. I think that that is something else that really smothers out the opportunity to get to know someone. Well, what if this, what if that, what if, just, we're going to go through things in life. We're the human experience. It's lies, it's truths, it's omissions, it's reconnecting. These are all things that we need as just in our human essence. And so that's okay. But sometimes just sitting, I love a good lapping. Either you can sit with their chest to your back, or you face them chest to chest with your legs crossed over one another, and you really do take an opportunity to gaze into each other's eyes and feel each other's breath and breathing, and say what you appreciate most about that person.
yeah, of course. I think that's beautiful. And I think if people did that, look, we're going to be launching our intimacy retreat, which we'll talk about soon.
Yes.
That is one of the exercises we're going to be really working on, which is taking some quiet time together to feel each other's breaths, to stare into each other's eyes, into their soul, and
Yes.
maybe just hold hands, feel their pulse. Know that that person you love or whoever's in front of you is a living human being that's aging with you. Look, I think people always say, "You've been married a long time. Are you still attracted to your wife?" Look, I think attraction, especially as you age, becomes a connection play,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're able, you've gone through. Listen, life is not bliss for anybody, and so we all go through ups and downs of personal life, relationship life, work life. And I think what makes a couple of beautiful, long-lasting couples are those that can come out of it stronger and better. And it takes work to do that. But when you do that, you start really deepening your appreciation for somebody. And when you are making love to them, it may not be the 1 hour performance play, but it doesn't matter. It's just that holding, squeezing moment of feeling their closeness. But I want to just bring back, because you brought me back to high school for a moment, making
Mhm.
those video cassettes for my first girlfriend. I'll never forget.
Yes.
But you know what I love about that, Frenchie, that we don't do today, that we were doing, and we didn't even realize we were doing it in the moment?
What was
Is
that?
we took a significant, because these things did not take 3 seconds to download, push play, and send it via text.
True. It was time and
It,
effort.
it was like an afternoon project. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine this: you had to think of the songs, listen to it, think about the moment you were trying to create, the vision you had. So you were creating this enormous anticipation in your mind. You were basically being transparent because these songs moved you, and now you wanted them to move that person you loved. So you were transparent. And then the actual art of gifting this cassette had its own thing, right? I mean,
Yes, because
you
you're
wrote, remember the
playing it,
cassette,
and
you would
every time
draw
you
on
think
it,
of
you
them,
create your own cover
yes.
for it. It had like significance to it. And so thinking back, no wonder these cassettes evoke such incredible memories, because they were they were works of love. They took time, imagination, creativity, thoughtfulness, everything we talked about in that one cassette.
And I always, because um, money won't always um show consideration. So you have to think out of the box. I've been fortunate enough to date, you know, people who do well. So what do you give someone that has everything? You know, and you really have to think about it. You know what I love? You can go to Build-A-Bear, and they have the little voice boxes that you can put in the bear. You can leave a special message and put it inside the bear that you choose, and so then every time they squeeze the bear, they hear that special message. I think
Total.
that's really beautiful. You know, I have get you a, you know, it's a good one. Since I'm gonna give everybody my secret, Lord Jesus, I'm about to start something. Uh, get you a good, really good photographer, someone you, if you're a bit voyeuristic, I'm say for those who are on the voyeuristic side, okay, get you a good eyeliner, black eyeliner pencil, or you can go to someone that does temporary tattoos, and then you write their names. Their you can do first name or last name. You write it all over your body. And then you have the photographer do an amazing black and white, and you get it framed. And you give someone your body.
Your Valentine gift. Right there. Damn,
Well,
that's
listen,
next
we
level.
got more tips. We have so many more tips.
So,
So
so
again,
this
you do have to get ready for our retreat. We're gonna be telling you more about the retreat.
these retreats are going to be a connection, an
Yes.
intersection between medicine, uh, emotion, and psychology, as well as giving you guys truly some tools so that when you leave the retreat, you're going to continue to grow as one unit together.
Yes.
So what Frenchie's been talking about, just listening to her, you could already feel yourself just mentally changing, right? But I want to get into, because the show can't go on forever. So if you are suffering from some of these changes in hormones, some of these changes in lubrication, some of these changes in vaginal wall thickening, if you are having pain during intercourse, what are some things that are new out there today that you can try from a medical standpoint? And I'll tell you, new today in technology is some of these radio frequency fractional CO2 lasers that are out there that are amazing. And we, I've been using lasers in the vagina for 12 years. I call them functional lasers. These are not aesthetic lasers, but I think everybody should do a laser treatment. And I'll tell you why. Lasers do four things. They do, if you've had kids or if you age and you start to pee your pants when you laugh or cough or exercise, that can affect you a little bit. Lasers are actually FDA approved for mild to moderate urinary stress incontinence. If you're suffering from dryness, lasers improve lubrication. They improve pH balance, which we talked about. And they do tighten the skin a little bit inside the vagina and on the outside labia majoras. So as we age, we lose the fat pads in our labia majoras. And sometimes we get a little more wrinkling or hollowness than we used to, and we lose a little of that volume. And that can also be a functional change that affects the way it feels when we're having sex. And from an aesthetic standpoint, it may change your confidence and you may not like the look. Or it may pull and tug when you're wearing clothing. So lasers are one good modality that I think as we age, we should consider. The second is something that we do all the time, which is utilizing your own blood. We spin it, we take your plasma, which looks like, I call my yellow gold, my gold treatment, and I inject that right directly into your G zone area. And you're
Nice and plump.
And what that does is it really significantly improves blood flow to that area, innervates those 8,000 nerve endings coming off that clitoris that you guys saw. And by doing that, guess what happens? You're improving sensation, orgasm. It also helps a little bit with urinary incontinence. But remember, we talked about blood flow isn't just about females, it's about males. Yes. So that same PRP that we use in females to improve their sensation, their orgasm capabilities, both clitorally and vaginally, if we inject it into the penis, we improve blood flow to the penis. And if we do that, we're improving the quality of their erection, how long they can stay hard for. We can improve sensation. And for a lot of our male patients, they actually get off of erectile dysfunction medication entirely.
Dr. G, does it change the, I know because of the blood flow, but does it change the actual size of the penis, like lengthwise
So
as
that's a
well?
good
Does it give more girth, I guess is what,
yeah, yeah.
girth or length?
Yeah, good point. So it doesn't really give you much more length. I would say that there's some soft data that shows that some of our guys will have an increase of up to 20%, which is significant in both girth size and sometimes in length size but really I never use that as my selling tool. My selling tool
That's fair.
is really for the quality of your erections. But there are a lot of things available today. There's peptides. People are into peptides. There are peptides that improve the bonding, the emotional connection, the desire, right? So oxytocin is one of these peptides that we produce naturally that help you and I connect, that helped us bond, right? And you need all this to have a healthy connection, both emotionally and physically. And so these are some of the things. There's some great AI tools today, believe it or not, that help work the pelvic floor muscles. Because as we get older, sometimes we start noticing, man, the friction isn't there like it used to be there. Or I'm getting
We keep
hair
working
traffic
with you.
all
We
the time.
won't have to worry about getting old.
That's right. So look, the point is arousal is slower as we age. And so we need to spend more time cultivating those minutes of foreplay so that they last. So foreplay becomes a bigger part of our time together so that when we get to the actual physical penetration or intimacy, our bodies are ready for it. We're aligned to it so we can really look at studies have shown over and over again people who spend 20 minutes in oral foreplay have stronger, better, more frequent orgasms than if you don't. Simple as that,
You
right?
heard it from the doctor.
Yeah. Because our bodies are dynamic. They're a combination of both neurochemistry, physical chemistry, feeling safe, feeling loved, feeling appreciated. So all of that, and I think those are some of the big things that happens to us as we age. Is the hormone shifts, the blood flow, the quality of the tissue, our nervous system. What medications are we on? How stressed are we? What's our lifestyle like? And if we can look at all of these things and start coming up with a roadmap to success by individually changing some of these, then I think we drastically improve the quality of our sex life, the quality of our intimacy, the quality of our orgasms.
Of our full livelihood.
Yeah,
Yes.
and by doing that,
Yeah.
guess what? You improve your connection on an
Yeah.
emotional basis, right?
And with yourself too.
Because what
Like,
do you like to say, Frenchie? If you're mad at your boyfriend, your partner, your husband, are you going to not have sex with them? Are you, or should you have sex? Because chances are that upset is going to go out the window.
you know, with my love, I don't punish myself by withholding, if
Yes.
that makes sense. I don't like to weaponize intimacy when we're miscommunicating or misaligned about something.
I love that. I love the fact that you don't say you weaponize because
Yeah.
I think a lot of times that's what people do to each other. They withhold intimacy in order to teach the other person a lesson.
Yeah.
And the reality is you do it once, okay. But if this
But
becomes a pattern in your relationship,
they'll get used to it and
yeah,
then they will go elsewhere.
yeah,
Like they'll the need does not go away. And so some people will choose to supplement someone else for their need or a bad habit for their need. So when we are misaligned, you it's better to unpack what you're misaligned about.
100.
And I always say,
Makeup sex is amazing sometimes.
it's the best. But I always say it's not you against each other, it's you against the problem. And so when we start to look at it like that, being against the problem, not against one another. Now that we have to practice. That is not something you're like, oh, you did it, you do it one time. You have to keep practicing not being against each other. It is the problem. It is uh, you're dealing with two different capacities from two different people, two different experiences, two different traumas. It's so many things. So it's you against the problem, you know?
Totally agree.
So
And,
we
and
have, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say also for those, if you're not having penetration on a regular timeline, I highly recommend, and I see this in my practice all the time. It Don't be ashamed. Use your dilators, use your vibrators, because it is true. If you don't use it, it starts to become smaller and tighter. And when you do need to perform, it can actually really hurt, and it
Yeah.
causes issues. So if for some reason you're in a situation where you're not able to be intimate and have penetration on a regular basis, use your toys, use your vaginal dilators, like as if you were exercising. Yeah.
Yeah. Self-love. You
Whatever
need
God gave you. Yeah.
self-love, partnered love. It's, we your human self, it is not just desire, it is a need. It's a need. And when when we when we don't treat our bodies well, treat our skin well. Remember, the skin is the largest organ that you have. The clitoris is the organ that's designed specifically for pleasure, with 8 to 10,000 nerve endings in it. So it was designed for these beautiful touches, these connections. So don't deny your body what it was actually designed for. So that's, I could never, I will definitely be that 97-year-old up in my nursing home. My husband has transitioned and they be like, there she at it again. I hear her moaning again because I go,
Well, listen,
always
I hope if
go.
we're ever next door to each other in that senior living, that I get a pair of earplugs, Frenchie.
Listen, I
I'm
will be
kidding.
that
I'm
one.
kidding.
The nurses will be laughing at me. I will
Oh
be
man,
okay
you'll
with
make
it.
everybody jump.
Well,
Look,
Dr.
wishing
G,
everybody a happy Valentine's. Whether or
yay!
not you're listening to this show beforehand, it doesn't matter. Valentine's just a date. The point we're
Just a
trying
day.
to make is every day should be Valentine's, and every day should be about figuring out how to make your special one feel special and feel loved and safe. And like Frenchie said, put some post-its, make it fun, exciting.
Mhm.
Let them know you love them. And then if you're having an issue with performance, if you're having an issue with discomfort, please, please, please get your hormones evaluated. See somebody who can help you, because there are tools, whether it's male or females, to improve performance, improve comfort. And that goes hand in hand with an enjoyable sex life.
Definitely. And Dr. G, if they have questions, because people usually have questions after we talk about this, they can email us and they can email you directly at lovetimescience@gmail.com. That's love xxx science@gmail.com.
You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook and
And
YouTube.
YouTube,
So
yes.
you can DM us, or Frenchie and I will be the ones responding to you. Comment if you want to hear about certain topics, conversations. We'd love to enlighten you guys. That's what we're here for. So let's make 2026 the year of the orgasm, the year of connections. I'm
Yes,
excited about it.
I am too. And until then, we'll see you next week.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.